So let me just give you one final little nugget of information, and that's how I found my JV partner. So everyone goes on about all money out property deals, but can you actually do it? Here's my 4-step process for how I did it, and stick around for step 3, which is the most crucial. Here's the most recent property that I've just purchased. So let me show you around it. One of the best ways to create an all money out property deal is through a joint venture partnership. So typically the way that works is one person brings the financial element and the other person brings massive value to the table and pretty much manages the whole process. And let me tell you how I've done that with my joint venture partner in the next couple of steps. So I've worked on over 100 HMO properties for investors because I run a company called HMO Designers, where we work with investors to optimize properties through planning permissions, building regs drawings, and managing construction sites. The reason I'm telling you all these things about me is not to brag about what I'm doing, it's because that's the first step in the process. So what you need to do is to make yourself attractive to somebody who, say, brings the finance as part of that joint venture partnership. So like I said, step 1 is all about making yourself a valuable individual so that a joint venture partner wants to partner with you. And some of those things might be something like you're in the trade, you're an electrician, you're a plumber, you might be a general builder, you could be managing properties, you could be a property sourcer. There's so many things in the industry that would be valuable skills within a joint venture partnership. So what I brought to the table was architecture, because that's what I studied, that's what I know, and that's a skill set that I have. And then you bring myself and the financial side together and you can achieve great things. So now we've talked about step 1, let me tell you about step 2. Oh look, a nice pink room here as well. So step 2, you are going to need to get your name out there. And how do you do that? And one of the best ways that you can do that is things like this: showcasing what you're doing, presenting it, getting yourself and your name out there on social media as much and as broadly as you can. Once you've built up an undeniable stack of proof and credibility about who you are and what you can achieve within the industry, it will become easy for you to find somebody who trusts you with their money within a joint venture partnership. So not many people are going to tell you about the length of time that it takes to build yourself up as a credible individual to be able to do something like a joint venture partnership in property. The person who's bringing the financial element to the table, they're going to be very switched on as an individual. They're going to probably be at the end of their career and they've got a pot of money to play with that they've built up over a lifetime. So they're going to want to entrust that with somebody who knows what they're talking about. And the only way to do that is to build up your own credibility. The way I did that was through providing services within the architectural industry to investors doing HMOs. And I've only just started the process of my joint ventures after the last 4 years of building up that experience. So I'm just going to talk about this property a little bit and why this was special. So this is a 6-bed, all-en-suite HMO. Upstairs, there's going to be 3 bedrooms and a living room, and this property has a massive amount of space just in the existing footprint. So what we're not doing with this is any extensions. So the construction cost was really low. Purchase price was reasonably high, so it was about market value. But because I know this area really well, I know it's non-Article 4, so that means we don't have to go in for planning, and it's low construction cost, so the timescales are really expedited, which is great news. It means we can get it finished really quickly and on the market really quickly. But let me show you the one round the corner that we've got, which is a 7-bed all-en-suite, which is midway through, and that'll give you a really good idea about the whole entire process. Now I'm going to show you around the second property, which, as I said, is a 7-bed all-en-suite HMO just around the corner from the last one. This one we did purchase crazily under market value, which was great. The construction cost is a lot higher because we're doing double floor drops and a rear dormer extension. This is where we're going to go through steps 3 and 4, which are super crucial to make sure that you've got everything sorted within your joint venture partnership. You've seen how well it's been put together? Like in terms of the detailing of even just like the tiles and everything. Like these builders are something else. They also did the roof next door because it was leaking next door. So they kind of did that free of charge for the neighbours, which is obviously very, very nice. Step number 3 in the process is probably the most crucial element. So that is the legal parameters. So what we did as part of this joint venture partnership was to set up a legal joint venture document with a lawyer. And the reason for that is to make sure that you've bottomed everything out in the process. So all I would say is you need to be totally aligned with the partner that you're going into this joint venture with. There's so much money on the table and you're taking on a lot of risk and liability that you need to be aligned on your personality and your values fundamentally. You're going to be tied at the hip with this person very long term. For instance, HMOs like this, they're not a short-term flip. It's a long-term aspiration and goal between two people. So we're driving towards having a portfolio of say 10 to 20 houses, possibly more, over a period of 15 years. So we wrote up the joint venture document with a lawyer. We both put in 5 grand either side, and it was 10 grand to put that joint venture document together. But I think it was worth every single penny because it now safeguards our investments moving forward, and it means that we got everything out and we discussed every situation. So what happens in the event that somebody dies, for instance? You have to discuss these very real things, or you'll be at a loss when that eventuality might happen. So you need to think about it early on. So the other thing I've got to say is you personally are taking on a hell of a lot of liability. So yes, you might be bringing just the value to the table and you're not bringing the financial side. So it's a deal where you're putting no money on the table. So it feels like it's not high risk, but it is, because with properties like this, you have to give personal guarantees on things like the bridging loan, and also when you get a commercial refinance at the end, you also have to give a personal guarantee. So that means that they can come for your personal assets if anything goes wrong with this. So you need to be very sure of what you're doing. Let me show you around the property now. So as you can see, we're in the dormer space, which is amazing. We've got this bedroom at the front of the property, serviced by 2 roof lights, ensuite in there. They've got all the walls up. We're insulating all of the walls as well for acoustics. We've got a bedroom at the back of the property. So this is at the rear, in the rear part of the dormer. So it's really amazing to see it all coming together. Going down to the first floor, we've now got stairs. We didn't have stairs before, so very excited about that. We've got 1, 2, 3 bedrooms on the first floor now, all en suite, and a nice tight staircase so that that dead space is as small as physically possible on these properties. And then if you come with me down to the ground floor, we've got a bedroom at the front with an ensuite. We've got a bedroom in the middle with an ensuite. And if we go through to the new extension at the back, this is where we're gonna have a long galley kitchen, dining table here, nice simple French doors, massive roof light to get lots of light into this space. And I'm very excited to show you when we start to get this thing dressed through the interior process, so follow along to see that. So let me tell you about the final step in the process, which is step 4, exit strategies. So you really need to know what you want to do long term. Are you looking at flips? Do you want long-term assets that are going to appreciate in value? Do you want high cash flow? And me and my joint venture partner aligned very, very well on this. We were thinking long term. We wanted to build a portfolio together under limited companies, so limited liability. We could sell those companies on in the future, but we're also hopefully going to benefit from the high cash flow of properties like HMOs, where you have multiple tenants in one property that's been done up to a very high specification, so you get high rent, so that we are able to benefit from that cash flow. So the idea long term is either we sell or we keep the asset, but we're talking 10, 15 years in the future. So you just need to be aligned on that final point and decide whether a joint venture partnership is for you and who that joint venture partner will be. So let me just give you one final little nugget of information, and that's how I found my JV partner. And so I, as I said, started to present the things that I was doing, like what we're filming today, started to present what I was doing on social media. and he kind of organically found me through those channels. I wasn't even actively looking for a joint venture partner, but we just discussed it as a situation that could be a good thing and benefit both of us. And in the end, we aligned totally, and the rest is history. So don't be afraid to keep getting your name out there, create as much content as you can and as much value for people as you can, and I'm sure you will find a JV partner for a no money down deal, just like I have, and I wish you the best of luck. Like and subscribe, and follow along for the next video soon.